Well, it's a good evening from the studios of Radio FM88 in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And so welcome to 2026 as the first show for the year. It is our 7th season. And I just want to give a big shout out to Priti Pauline, who's our co-host in the UK, based in London. And she's wrangled up Sarah Jane Smith, and we've been talking off air, and I think we've got someone who speaks our language, and so that's why we've got the 2 ears on, so we'll be listening intently to her skill set that she's prepared to drop down on everybody around the world today. Without further ado, Priti, I'll get you to take it over.
Okay, hello and good morning from the United Kingdom, where we've got hefty rain and weather, and the winter is deep and crisp and even, and the water is shortage and pipes are bursting everywhere, but we're having a whale of a time. I got in contact with Sarah and asked her if she'd be willing to come and have a conversation with us and let us know what she does. And within the last day or so, she put her hand up and said yes. So welcome, Sarah. Welcome to our little Holy Trinity here on Dreaming the New Dream.
Thank
you are
Priti.
the other side of London, are you?
I am. I'm in Surrey, so I'm about 45 minutes from central London. So Surrey is beautiful. It's nice and it's leafy and it's green and just where I like to be.
Okay. And you and I, we met around about, I don't know, sometime last year, early last year, through your husband, who I came to know through David Edelman, the People's Lawyer.
Yes.
I didn't know if you knew that. And you and I have had some fabulous conversations over this last year or so. And you told me just in this last week the kind of work that you do. So our conversations, Jeff, have been quite diverse. So now we're being a little bit more pointed, because she said, oh, I do quantum hypno. Well, really? What's that? So I'm going to ask her again. Oh, you do quantum hypno, do you? What? Please take it away.
I would describe it as, it is hypnosis. We are using hypnotherapy, but it's what we call Dolores Cannon's method. So I would say it's like what's happening is I'm the facilitator and I'm helping people to remember who they are, and they're connecting with source. They're connecting with their creator in the session. So what we do is I get to know them for as long as I need to on the day. Everything is structured on the day. We only see people once. And what I do is I get to know them by listening to their story. I physically meet them in person, or I do sessions like this online. I've worked with many, many people in beautiful Australia, beautiful New Zealand, the other side of the world. And it works perfectly well. And then we do the hypnosis part, which is they're connecting with source, God, the creator, the higher self. Most people call it the higher self. And what happens is the higher self will, for example, it will indicate where the issues lie. So when you we all know you go to a doctor or you go to a psychotherapist, what they're doing is they're dealing with the symptoms, aren't they? The higher self in the session is going to the root cause, okay? And it's showing people, well, this is where your issues began. For example, it will show them their childhood. In a beautiful, loving way. It never re-traumatizes anybody. They know you more than you know yourself. Otherwise, it will say, actually, there's residual trauma left over from a past life. Now, some people will have had a little bit of a dream, a snippet of a dream about a past life. They could have been Native American Indian. They could have been what people call a witch, which was just a healer. And they will actually say, this is what happened in a past life. And what we do is we explore the life from, they have a snippet of the dream. We'll see the beginning of the story, the middle and the end. So they have the full conclusion of what happened. And basically we explore the death in that life, how they were killed and what happened. So it's fascinating. So you're not just getting memories from this life. It's going into into all different lives, all different dimensions, all different planets. Very often people will have missing time. Very often people will say, I'm back with my tribe. And I'll ask questions. For me, it's about, I'm the questioner, I'm the facilitator, and I want to know everything. I'm curious. I want to know about missing time. I want to know about missing lost information. You can get anything at all, because people are literally time traveling back to different eras. And what's happening is a lot of them, they're researching the information they found in the session, and they're finding out that it was all actually correct. You know, things that they couldn't possibly have known, and they're researching and they're finding out it is factually correct.
Wow. And how does this help people then when they have this information? Is it not just more information overload? Tell me what you've seen with people and how it benefits them.
It gives them closure, basically. You can find out anything at all about your childhood. You know, for example, people can come and say, did something, bad happen to me as a child? Did this uncle do something to me? Did this particular thing happen? And we find out 9 times out of 10, it was something quite innocent that happened. They can close the door. However, if it's something a bit more ominous that did happen, a bit negative that happened to them, they receive that validation that they were correct. It did happen, but there's something they already know. So the session can only be beneficial. You cannot, they will only give you what you can handle. They know what you can handle, and they know what information you need. So those people get the information, they get more clarity and direction in their life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And tell me, when you say you remember who you are, have you noticed in all the time you've been doing this that there are some common threads in when you have sessions with people? So there's some like a common ground of remembering who you are as a collective rather than as an individual.
Everybody, what started happening, it was something bizarre. That's a very good question, Priti. Thanks for asking that. So when I started working, let's go back to almost 5 years ago. I was sitting in the middle of lockdown. I had this wonderful qualification. I wasn't really using it because everybody was locked down. And I was doing the dishes. I was at the sink and I'm doing the dishes. And I heard this voice or this thought form saying, contact David Icke. And I remember thinking, what will I do? What will I say? And they said, contact David Icke. So I went on his website, scrolled to the bottom, and it said, advertise with us. And I thought, is that it? And I was almost like this slow sort of clap, sort of thinking, oh, finally she got the message. So I made an advert. I sent it to David Icke. He said he really liked it. And I became his official sponsor for the last 4 or 5 years. So needless to say, the ad went out in front of, I thought, maybe it'll be seen by 5 or 10 people, but it went out, it was the most watched advert. It broke the internet. All sorts of things started happening. Funny things started happening. And I was inundated. It was tens of millions of people that had seen me and the ad. And I don't know whether it was a good thing or bad thing, but anyway, they'd all seen what I did. And it just broke the internet. It went crazy. So middle of lockdown, I started working every single day. Sometimes it was 6-7 days a week, because we knew the world was, people were suffering, people were, they were locked down. It was affecting people's mental health. And I thought, I can't just sit here and do nothing with this qualification. So I started working 6-7 days a week and nonstop. And what I noticed was when they first went, the way we're trained, Dolores says, they will see a past life. They will see something. Well, everybody was seeing nothing. And I remember thinking, what's going on? What's going on? And I kept saying, what are you seeing now? And I've actually written a book about it. It's a best-selling book. It's doing really well, called The New Volunteers. And what actually started happening was they were all seeing nothing. And I remember thinking, well, we're trained to understand every session is working, every session works, every session, but why are they all seeing nothing? So what happened was the first 10 minutes, they're seeing nothing and they're seeing darkness. And I'm sitting there going, well, this is a game. This is a conundrum. And I was very good at games as a child. How can I understand what's happening? And after 10 minutes, after the first 10 clients seeing the exact same thing, nothing, I realized that I started asking their higher selves, why are they saying nothing? And they said, because they're too traumatized, they're too distracted, and they need to just calm down. Because if they go back to a scene where it's World War II going on, World War I, World War II, bombs, or they've been to Iraq or Iran, whatever, that's going to further traumatize them and they're too distracted. So everybody started seeing darkness. And then they started seeing red, and then they started seeing green, and then yellow, and then eventually they started seeing things. So this was happening with everybody, and this wasn't what we were trained to do. But I remember just sitting and thinking, I know it's working. Every session is working. And what started happening was I was getting, because of this advertisement that I'd put up on David Icke, and I'm getting tens of millions of people, I started getting more serious cases where people were coming to me and they were saying, they've gone to the doctor and they've got 2 weeks to live. Because one particular woman, I started getting very, very serious cases, life or death, and they were given weeks or, a couple of months, couple of weeks to live. And one woman went to a nurse and she had the PCR test, and it broke the blood-brain barrier to the brain. So what happened was the brain was leaking fluid, and they said she's going to basically, when the fluid runs out of the brain, she's going to die, and she has weeks to live. And I thought, well, you've nothing to lose. So we did the session, and what started happening was they were coming in, that, like you said, the collective. So the collective consciousness, I knew she was working with the Galactic Federation, something like that. So what happened was they came in and I said, what are you doing now? Because my job is to not just ask questions and keep the session going, but to ask the right questions. But the other point is, I want to know how they do surgery. How do they do surgery? So what happens is they said, we're taking a piece of tissue from near her rib and we're putting it in, and we keep doing this. And I could see her hand was physically moving. And I said, what are you doing? We're taking tissue. And they started healing this part of the brain, underneath the brain. And I said, how long is it going to take? Could you finish it in the session? And they said no, because the lady was 75 and she just didn't stop running around. And they said, you have to learn, slow everything down. She wanted to travel to help people. So they said the lesson is you do need to slow down 8 weeks. And she told me 8 weeks to the day that the brain was completely healed. And so I started having quite a lot of people coming to me. I mean, thousands coming to me. One man flew over from the Netherlands, and he came and he said, look, my heart is officially working at 20%. What can you do? And in his session, he told me he saw the Anunnaki coming in, and he said, I'm part of them. I'm part of the Anunnaki, and they love me. And he said, well, they're taking me up on a ship. And I said, okay, fair enough. And I'm following what they're saying. And he's lying on the ship. And I said, what are they doing now? And he said, no. What are you doing? And I said, calm down, breathe. What's that? And he said, they're taking the heart out of the body. Now, this is really, really common, what I've found, to answer the question again, because what they're doing is holographically, they're taking the organs out. And what they started doing with the heart is they said, we're massaging the heart. And this is really common. And it made me wonder, when we go back in time, you see the Mayans or whatever it is on the top of the pyramid, and they are taking the heart out physically. And the ETs were probably going, that isn't what we meant. We meant holographically take it out, and they're massaging. So I think humans maybe saw this energetically, and then they put it back. Mm-hmm. So imagine clients in a session and they're saying, and some of them said to me, they looked up and they said, we saw reptilians and the reptilians were helping us and healing us. So it's changing I think everything we know, that's what I think. And more information is coming out now to support what is happening in the sessions, that everybody thinks reptilians bad. Let's say, you know, one person from a country kills somebody. Oh, that everybody from that country is bad. Well, that isn't true. So we were getting reptilians coming into the session, and they were helping and healing people too. And I said to the client, what is your relationship with a reptilian? He said, I'm one of them. And so they understandably, they want to help me. And these ETs, they are master biologists as well. They know exactly what to do. And I'm learning, because I ask in every session, what are you doing? How do you do that? So they'll say, we'll put light in it, or we'll put energy in it, or we'll physically take the organ out and we'll massage it. And so when these people, this is the proof that it's not just woo-woo, it's not just our imagination, because these people go back to the doctors and surgeons and they go, it's a miracle, it must have been the drugs. And the clients start saying, well, we stopped taking them 6 months ago. And they go, well, it isn't Sarah. It isn't her. It isn't the session. We can't explain it, but it's a miracle. So these people will go back, and one man with the heart that was working at 20%, they said it's working at 100. And then I went over and I met him in the Netherlands, and he said, and other people told me as well, he's doing weightlifting. He's lifting hundreds of kilos. He's in the gym, and everybody before said, no, you're going to die slowly. But he's proving, you know, everybody to be wrong. So what do the doctors and surgeons know? Well, the doctors and surgeons, they're not all bad. They're not all against us. They're coming to me and asking me to teach them. Because I've had somebody who's written books with Dr. Mercola in the United States, and they've come and they've said, teach us, train us, show us what you do. And other people like Dr. Peter Glidden, I shared a patient with him as well. And when he saw the patient the following day after the session, he said, this can't be right. It can't be the same person, because previously he'd been dying of cancer. Following day, he's taken on the world. So that's the effect it's having on people. Do I do much? I'm the facilitator. I just ask the right questions, and it's not just sitting asking questions. It's finding the needles in the haystack energetically, and that's what I'm good at. I pick up a sense or something. There's something hidden here. There's something we need to find, and it works every time, because people are putting their trust in me. They're putting their life in my hands, and I've never lost a client yet. The only time, you know, one person 6 months later, he didn't make it, was because the wife said he went back to the hospital, and they encouraged him to do chemotherapy. He didn't make it. So.
Okay. So tell me, when in and around the first time we did meet, you did have a problem with your foot. So you being able to help other people, have you been able to self-help with your foot? And how is your foot these days?
Yeah, it's what happened was, and I'll tell you the truth, the full story, because I haven't really talked about it yet. I was at an archaeological site in the largest, oldest pyramid in the world in Bosnia. And maybe I was imbalanced energetically, but I was about, it's quite wild out there still. And I was about, 5-6 meters from the bottom, and the earth underneath my feet gave way, and I fell onto rocks at least twice. So I basically smashed everything from the left knee down. And I remember I was with my young children then. I remember saying, just help me. I have my arms around two of their shoulders. And I remember saying, I don't feel any pain. So it's probably just a twisted ankle or something. And then I remember I tried to put a bit of weight in it, and I thought, that's not going to work. So I remember thinking, it's probably just a twisted ankle. You'll be fine. And I did go to the hospital. They took x-rays, and they said, no, all the bones are smashed from the knee down. And they looked at me and they said, you're a very strange lady. And I said, why? And they said, because everybody would come in here screaming because all your bones are smashed. And they said, you don't feel any pain? And I said, actually, no, I'd feel nothing. And I remember saying,
Well, you haven't
what
got a
should I be
bone.
doing? Yeah. So everything was broken. The leg was broken and the ankle was broken on both sides. And yeah, I didn't feel anything at all. The only thing that sort of started getting to me a little bit was they said, the x-rays were so bad, they said you will probably be in a wheelchair for life. And it was just over a year ago. I am running now. I'm back on the treadmill. I'm running. So that's how much they know. And I think it's up here. It's how strong you are. If I'm doing this job and teaching other people to be strong, then I should be leading people in this way anyway, shouldn't I? But basically, I did call on God. I did call on Source. I did call on Michelangelo, which Priti works with as well, who was brilliant. And he helped me too. That was extremely helpful, the work Michelangelo did. But I was mentally very strong. I was physically very strong. They kept constantly saying to me, if the leg dies, watch this, look out for this, look out for that, because we will amputate your leg. And I kept looking back saying, yeah, you won't though. And even if it did happen, yeah, it's going to be fine. Yeah. But because of my job, I know Source can, when you connect with Source or the higher self, they can heal anything at all. Not only am I running, I think the leg is probably strong. I think my left leg is probably stronger than the right one now. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they tell you, what they're, and then they said, you'll come back and you'll have arthritis. And I kept saying, no, I won't. Because they don't understand the body. They have no idea. They're doing, what I call Rockefeller medicine since the 20s. When the Rockefellers came along and introduced allopathic medicine, they banned everything. They banned all these, what they call pseudoscience, which what I'm doing, they say it's not really proven. Well, yeah, it is. But that's what they want to tell people. It's just all pseudoscience. It doesn't really work. But listen, I've seen, every possible disease. I've seen people with lupus. I've seen people on 36 pills a day. A week later, they're on nothing. And the doctors are scared. The doctors are thinking, what's going on? They're losing their grip. And the clients are coming to me. Even some of the doctors are coming to me. And I had the same woman with lupus. It was gone within days because they did the blood test. They said it must be a mistake. It must be the wrong person. It must be, wrong diagnosis, but it was gone. And then she said her and her son emailed me and they said, oh my God, the funny thing is she's grown a foot taller because she had scoliosis of the spine. So the spine was so crooked and bent over that within a week or 2 weeks, it started straightening up. So she had grown a foot taller as well. We don't know. We don't give guarantees to people, but everybody that's done the session, they've got exactly what they wanted. They had answers and healing. So, but that is up to the person. Does it work for everybody? If somebody says, oh, I definitely want to see again, I'm blind, and I definitely want to get rid of this disease, but actually they don't really, then they will say it hasn't worked for them. And also some people, Dolores Cannon said, some people, they need the attention. Oh, I'm the victim and I'm sick. In that case, if they don't accept the healing, it won't work for them. They will say it didn't work, but it is them who has to accept the healing.
Correct.
So there's a kind of union between the conscious and the unconscious.
Yeah.
So what people are verbalizing and what they actually still need, because if they were capable of putting their best foot and left foot forward, then they would do it. But if they still have some unresolved, unknown issues, then they too would need to be dealt with before they can really leap forward. Would you say that's a fair assessment? Yeah,
and it's about really being honest with yourself. I have an inquiry form on my website, do you really want help? And if the answer is, they have to really think, are you gaining anything from the disease and being sick? Because if you are, you're not going to accept that healing. There was a woman, she was from Australia. And she came to me and she said, I'm completely blind. And she said, I want to work with something completely different, not the blindness. And I thought, okay. And she said she had a quantum healing session with someone in Australia a year ago she wanted to see again, or so she thought. And when she went to him, she did the session. She said it didn't work. And she said it wasn't that it didn't work. It was that she suddenly realized that she didn't mind being blind at all, because she could help more people by being blind. So that was why, they say even with Jesus, they said he could heal anybody, unless that was this person's journey. If it was this person's journey that they were to be blind and they were to help more people that way, no, he said he could not interfere with their karma or their journey. It isn't possible. Wow. Yeah. That's the new book, by the way, the new volunteers.
The new volunteers.
So when you were in the pyramid of the sun, were you in the tunnels? Is that where the incident occurred, in the tunnels?
No. I was at the bottom. I was towards the bottom of the pyramid, which is still quite wild. And I think it was just a lesson I needed to learn. This has been very common about a year ago. I've met about 15 women who've stepped off curbs, who've fallen, and they all seem to have broken their left ankle or left leg or something. And I said, what did you learn? Just meeting people out and about. And these women said to me that I needed to slow down. So that was probably what happened to me. And also it gave me time to finish my book as well. And I think the book needed to come out, because in the book, the clients ask questions about taking the jab, people that took the vaccine. And there's very, very interesting information for people about the vaccine, about how you can not give that vaccine permission to work on you. And when you don't permit that vaccine, how it has to leave the body as well. So there's energetic ways of detoxing that vaccine too, by not giving it permission. So I think this is source coming through in the book, through people, and giving people hope and advice and information.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So and that's even after they've actually taken a vaccine of any kind, not just the COVID ones, maybe hepatitis, all sorts of tetanus and things like that. If you don't want it to work for you, you can just say banish and be gone.
Yes. Yeah. That's what they said in the sessions. Yeah, absolutely.
So really, we really are masters of our own ships. We are the captain of our vessel.
Yeah. We are so powerful, and people see how powerful they truly are in the sessions.
And tell me, what else is in the book to offer hope with people?
Yeah, I was just you took the I was just about to say, you took the words right out of my mouth, because people have asked in every single session, what is the future going to be like? Now, I don't tell people what other people have said, because if I did, it wouldn't be empirical evidence. So what happens is when people say, what is the future going to be like? They say it might be a little bit turbulent, like let's say this year, might be just a little bit turbulent at the beginning of the year. But what they say, and they don't give exact dates. For example, on the 17th of January, it will be, like this. It's not the weather forecast, but what they say is the future is going to be so good, which means this is what we're seeing now today in the present, that it's so good and that it's so positive. But we're creating our own future. All of us, we are a collective.
So we are dreaming the dream.
It's what you focus on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If that's what you want, and you want to focus on the negative and the fear, that's absolutely fine. But that's what you're going to get more of. I remember even before I fell, just over a year ago, even the alternative seen on social media, I don't want it anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. We already know about the jabs. We already know about mRNA. We already know about the WHO. We know. But what do you want? What do you want to actually focus on? And that's where I started changing course. I just stopped listening to people,
Okay.
I stopped
So you
listening to the.
started living a life that you wanted. So you banished the past, and
Yeah.
whatever is has been, and that's it. It's gone, be gone over your shoulder, and start to live the way you want to live, day in, day out.
Yeah.
The life
Yeah,
of
because
Sarah.
you're creating everything yourself. And
Okay.
I start, if I have an argument with somebody or something happens, I say, well, okay, what was the point of me creating this? You know, and then I start thinking, well, I can look at this as an exciting challenge. This isn't what I prefer to happen, but you're creating your own life. You are the master of your own ship. Yeah. I couldn't have said it any better, Priti. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the point of making this argument? So we'll find out what the point was of you saying, yes, come on, let's have a good chat this morning over the airwaves between the northern and the southern hemisphere. We'll find out.
Yes. Yeah,
More
absolutely.
connections.
Yeah.
Okay. And have there been some people that you've met that have completely surprised you?
When everybody surprises me. Everybody surprises me. I'm trying to think now of an exact example, but when people think they are the most spiritual people on the planet and they say, I've done this million times before, I know everything. And they're sort of a bit like J.P. Sears, the American comedian. I'm more spiritual. I know everything. They're normally the ones I need to watch more than the other ones. And when people say, I'm new to this and I'm not, but I'm open, I would rather have somebody who's open-minded, a clean slate, and says, I'm new to this. I would rather work with them, because they're not coming with the ego. They're not coming with the conditioning. They're not coming in thinking, I know a lot about this. You don't know what you're going to be like under quantum hypnotherapy. You have no idea. And even I don't either. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how people are going to react. One of my huge fears when I first started was the fear of the unknown. What happens if I don't know what to do or say? Well, guess what? That is going to happen in a session. We don't know, because the truth is how little we know. And so this is why I love this job, because when I don't know what to do in the middle of a session, I'm learning. And you get that skill set that nothing can bother me. The answer will come, So everybody surprises me in a session. I don't take anything anyone says at face value anymore. I tune into them, and I'm open to everything and anything happening. So always come with an open mind. Many people haven't even heard of quantum hypnotherapy before, but even fewer people have done the session. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the person's going to react. There will be a lot of energy in the room. Sometimes people have said they can almost feel the walls shaking and the bed shaking. And, it's a crazy roller coaster ride, but we're learning every day, and I think I'm one of these people. I've got my finger on the pulse now as to what's going on with humanity and the collective. And that's what they say. Focus on what you want, guys. Focus on the positive, because this is what you're going to create,
So would you say that there's a difference between quantum hypno and past life regressions?
We're going to, because people are going to wherever they need to go. I don't lead anybody anywhere. I follow the client under hypnosis, but I just say, what can you see or feel or hear or sense? Or because one person will hear very, very well, and they'll say, oh, I'm seeing these blue people and they're saying this, or I'm seeing God and he's saying this. But the majority of people say, I'm just seeing visual things, but it's quite blurry. And we need their imagination to fill in the blanks. Does that make sense? We need them to open the imagination, because that's what the imagination is. The imagination is the portal to this knowledge. But the higher self or source is taking people to wherever they need to go. It could, because it could be, it's usually another dimension. What happens is they leave the body, and I say to them, what do you look like? And they say, well, nothing, I have no form. And I say, well, look a little bit closer. And they say, I can see a little bit. It's like a glitter. It's like a little bit, it's like there's something there. But other than that, I have no form, because when you leave the body, most of the time you have no body. So that's what we're dealing with. They have no form, more or less. They have no body. They look a little bit translucent, a bit glowy, and they will go to whatever dimension they need to go to. And this is why they wake up and they're exhausted. They feel like they have no sense of time. There is no time and space. People have said to me before, I've been on shows with very, very, very famous people, and they've said to me, nobody can tell you who's been working on you on that ship, what kind of an ET it is. And I said, I can. And then they said, their new book is called Time. It's about time. And I've been very confused with these people, because I know there is no such thing as time. And when people are under hypnosis, the interesting thing is, I always say, how long do you think the session's been? They say 20 minutes, half an hour. But very often the session will be 2 hours or more. And that shocks them, because they have no idea, because they're out of the body. They have no time and no space. Right. None of that is real.
Okay. I remember many, many years ago, I did some past life regression with a clinical hypnotist, and at the end of the session, I came out with a story that I looked upon as a metaphor for situations where it was mimicking in some similarities what was going on in my day-to-day life at that point in time. So as the story, it helped me to see what was going on in my day-to-day life with a different perspective, and to make other choices, and to not choose a particular, not to just keep going round and round the hamster wheel with the same repetitious pattern of behavior.
That's what they say Jesus came to do. That's what he came to do. He didn't come to die for your sins or anything like that. He came to do exactly what you've just said, Priti. He came to get people off the wheel of karma, off the hamster wheel. Exactly like you said, for people that say, well, I don't believe that past life, I always say, I'm not here to convince you of something you're not ready to believe. And that's fine, because as long as they get the message, and also the body is giving you physical messages too. So when you start treating the symptoms of the body, guess what? You're not getting the message. What happens when you don't get the message? Something else is going to happen, because they're saying, hello, I've told you with the shoulders, I've told you with the hips, I've told you with whatever it is you're dealing with. We're trying to tell you, we're trying to get through to you through the body. When you don't get the message, or you treat the symptoms, or you take pills, which is masking the symptoms, you're not listening. It's going to get worse, because they're going to shout louder at you. They're going to knock harder till you get the message. And in the session, everybody finds the message. And guess what? They find it themselves. I'm not giving you the answers. I'm not going to give you the answers. You have to find the answers. And people do. And they have that rewarding feeling. I did this myself. So what we do, my philosophy is, you've heard the saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. I teach people to fish. You can eat forever, because the whole point of the session is you get the healing of the body, you get the answers, but also you understand what it feels like, how simple it is to connect, because people are connecting. People are hearing let's say the voice or the answers, and they think, but that's just me, I'm making it up. And I say to people, yeah, that's not you making it up, that's them. And they see in the session, really, it's as simple as that? Yes, it's as simple as that. That's them talking to you. The people are either not listening, they don't trust themselves, or they're too distracted. And that's why they're not hearing. Wow. And so they get frustrated with us. And they say, the worst thing I've ever heard in the session was they say by the client, she's not listening. And we try to give her messages and we try to speak to her, but she's not listening. So they're going to give you more and more messages. They're going to get louder.
Right.
Yeah.
So the key to all of that are the listening skills of ourselves, to ourselves, with other people. Could you explore and expand upon that?
It's trusting yourself when you hear you get that gut feeling, or you get, why don't you go down that way instead of turning right today? Why don't you turn left? And people go, yeah, but and we fight with it. And they just go, oh, how many times? And so you got to trust yourself. You got to trust the voice, trust the knowing, the inner feeling, the gut feeling. The body is the best indicator. It's telling you. And I say to people, it's about not being distracted as well. The best messages I ever got was when I was doing the dishes. There was nothing and nobody to distract me. And I was going, contact David Icke. So I should contact David Icke. And they were going, yeah, So they will put everything there for you, everything and everybody there for you. And if I hadn't been doing the dishes that day and I hadn't listened properly and I was distracted, and, or for example, I can go running and I can listen to music or whatever, but that's when I'm in the zone. That's when I can hear and I have full on conversations in my mind. And I'm always rewarded when I listen and when I follow the advice.
So tell me, what does being in the zone feel like to you? Can you articulate it, or is it just a non-physical way? Just if you can say something more about in the zone. Aren't we there yet?
Yeah, it for me, running feels like free. It's freedom. It's you're in the zone. You've almost left the physical. You've gone to another dimension, and to me, it feels like freedom, the ultimate freedom. When I've asked everybody what is the number one thing you want, they said to be free.
Yes.
All the clients I've had, I call them the new volunteers, and I'll tell you why in a moment. They've said they value freedom more than anything else. They've also told me, this is under hypnosis, they all say the same thing, the same way, with the same words. They say they value loyalty in as a quality in people, and the thing that they hate the most is betrayal. So the reason I call the book The New Volunteers is because when Dolores was working, mainly doing sessions 20 years ago, she wrote a book called The 3 Waves of Volunteers, which had a specific rules and criteria. They no longer apply anymore. For example, Dolores would say, and it was correct at the time, Dolores would say, the volunteers come here, they don't want to get married and they don't want to have kids because they don't want to create further karma on the planet. That is no longer happening. To be what I call a new volunteer, you can be married, you can have children, it is not going to create karma. Also, a big difference is people used to cry under hypnosis and say, I want to go home. I want to go home where I've come from. And she would say, which was correct at the time, you cannot go home because that would mean cutting your life short. This has changed. Yes, you can go home through your mind, through visualization. This is why we do the session, because people see home. They see where they've come from. Where does everybody come from? They come from originally from source. But there's always a place where people say, I feel like this isn't home. Somewhere else is home. It could be a different dimension, a different planet, and things are done differently there. These people volunteer. They put their hands up and they volunteer to come to this planet to help people. The reason they come to help people is because they love Earth, they love the people, and they have, like Liam Neeson says, a particular skill set. So they have gifts, they have abilities, they've done it all before. They've been warriors, they've been spiritual people, they already know. And they're now either what we call waking up or remembering why they're here. And they want to find out what their gift is or their particular skill set. And they find that in the session. They want to know how they can help people, and they want to know their purpose. Everybody has a mission. You will wake up at the exact time you need to wake up. Nobody is late, nobody is early, although people like David, like they do seem very early, but nobody is late, nobody is early, everybody is exactly on time. They wake up, or I call it remember, exactly when they need to. And that's a big question for people as well. Why didn't I wake up earlier? Because it wouldn't have worked. You wouldn't have understood. And what's the point? Some people, one lady asked a question, what happened in the past when people did wake up too early? They started having the perception of many, many voices, many things coming through, like 10 at the same time. And there was so much information coming through that those people were drugged or put into a psychiatric unit. So you have to, it's very important that people understand you wake up exactly, or remember exactly when you need to. You know, timing is everything.
Yes, everything happens. The wizard arrives when the wizard arrives. And everything happens at the ripe time. Not the right time, the right.
Yeah, you can help more people. They're not going to do anything to damage or harm anybody. So everybody wakes up at the right time. Yeah. You just have to trust it.
Yeah. And tell me if you've what your ideas might be in and around. You talked about people can come and they can be married and they can have children.
Yeah.
And you know, in Africa, for instance, a friend of a friend, a king died recently, and he had 6 wives and 24 children or thereabouts. Whereas in the Western world, that would almost be unheard of. So there's quite a big cultural contrast between, if you like, the Western world, where you have a mother, father, 2.2 children. I'm not sure what the average is these days, but it was 2.2 at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have something to say about that? Culturally?
Culturally, yeah. I mean, you know, you get people in Africa, and, you know, that is their culture, isn't it? You know, where do cultures begin? Because they need a certain amount of children. Also, in certain cultures like Africa, you could have 10 women to a man. And also you might not have very many men in the village as well. So that could have been where that actually began. It's so they're you know, they obviously need children, they need people to work and stuff like that. So that's where that would probably have begun. In places like Ireland, it was similar-ish, but then also you have the Catholic Church as well.
Yeah.
You know,
yes, in my grandparents' case, on one side, my grandmother had 14 pregnancies, and on the other side had 8 pregnancies. So before, in and around the Industrial Revolution, I would say my grandmother on my mother's side was an industrial producer of babies.
Yeah, bless her.
And so good use of a body there, if you like. So the cultures in Ireland and the cultures Australia, there's all different cultures all around the world and different ways of doing and being. And in that collective, there would be so many different individual cases of what their ripening process would be. We're talking globally here.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of us in the ascending, and what does that mean to you?
You know, everybody talks about ascending like we're going up steps and stuff like that. I see it more as remembering. We're remembering who we truly are every day. So we're born with this. We're already born. We already come in, but we have that veil of forgetfulness. Now the veil is thinning and we're remembering. So it's not so much scaling and going up. It's remembering who we truly are. The children who are born today, I don't really work with children because children are in a hypnotic state anyway. There's nothing wrong with children. Nobody's broken. None of us are broken. There's nothing wrong, especially with children. And what started happening is when the children don't fit into the box, especially in school and socially, they'll start drugging them. And it's the worst thing you can possibly do to drug your children. Yeah, it's harmful. It poisons the liver. They don't need drugging. What it is, I'm dealing with children. The youngest I've ever had was a little boy who was 11, and he was adorable. He could do the session. I said, maybe I'll work with one of the parents. They said, no, he wants to work with you. He was an amazing little boy. Session was great. Session was short because I normally work minimum on the day 6 hours with people. But what is an 11-year-old got to say? Not much. They've only had 11 years. So with him, the session was very, very short, but it was extremely successful. The parents just didn't understand him because he's not from here. He remembered a lot of things. He's brought in the gifts and the abilities, and these children are changing the world. We cannot change these children. This is really important. They've got these gifts, they've got these abilities. They change the world just by being themselves with their energy. They change everything and everybody. People want to be around them. People love them. And they're teaching people that we're all different. They're teaching people that sensitivity is a gift. Your sixth sense is a gift. Because if you know how to use it, sensitivity is great, but if you don't have boundaries and don't know how to protect yourself, you're going to leak energy, and people will want to take that energy. They will take everything they can from you. In his classroom, everybody loves this little boy. Everybody loves him and accepts him. He's the most important, most popular boy. But the parents and the teachers and everything were saying, he's different. He doesn't fit in. I said, yeah, I know he's not. We haven't come here to fit in. We've come here to help people. So the thing that we have in common most with each other is we've never fit in here. And guess what? You will never fit in. We're not supposed to come here and fit in. And that's why people feel different. And that's why some people, they miss home, they feel suicidal. But that's what I teach them in the session. You're never going to fit in, but your skills your differences will help people.
Wow.
Energetically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
we are
that
different.
Not fitting. Yeah, that not fitting in is stepping outside the mainstream.
Yes.
Is another way of saying it.
Yeah, because the mainstream, it's broken. It's broken. It isn't working. And we've known that for a very long time. So who are the ones to come in? It's the new volunteers. We have come here to change things. The strongest ones with the best gifts and abilities, with the most, let's say, I'm trying to think of the right word, with the most pull, are the children. Because they're coming in with that DNA. The DNA is already in place. They're using probably almost all strands of DNA. And they're helping us just by their mere presence. Yeah.
All right. So for someone unenlightened, how would you describe the strands of DNA that are within people?
It's the DNA is supposed to hold the gifts and the abilities and the potential for change. And these strands, they're activating all the time. And I feel we're being given tests and lessons all the time. I know I'm being tested all the time. And you have moments where you rest, and then you've got these little challenges again that you have to go through. And I think these tests are activating us. You know, they're activating the DNA. You need to, I think, my opinion is you need to be worthy of all the power you are going to get, because you need to be responsible for that power, because the dynamics are now changing. The people being given the true power, you're being tested for responsibility to hold that power, what you're going to do with it, you know? And the main thing is your intention. Even if you get things a little bit wrong or it doesn't go the way you thought it would, it's all about your intention, you know, what your intention was. And if you've good intentions, that's all it's about. We're learning. It's all a learning curve. Yeah.
I'm kind of giggling then when you said that we're all different,
Yes.
and we're not meant to fit in.
No.
I had a vision of casting my mind back to the film The Misfits.
Yeah.
Do you recall that? Do you
I'm
remember it, Jeff?
No, I know it, but I can't recall. Who are them actors in that?
I'd have to Google the names, but anyway, it was just and there's also a children's card game called The Misfits, where you have the different parts of the face and you play cards and make all different sorts of faces. They're misfits.
And people often resonate. They really resonated with the Matrix films as well. In Matrix
Yeah.
4, there's a line where the psychotherapist said, "You're the sheeple. The sheeple will never revolt. They will never wake up." And it's like, yeah, but we beg to differ, don't we?
Yes.
Another great movie that's out at the moment that I would recommend people to watch would be the latest Avatar movie, because this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about focus on what we really want, because they're connecting with the planet, with the Earth, and you've got the army coming in, and they don't understand. It's for them, it's all about money. Money is important, but it's not even real. They want us fighting and killing over money. The army come in and they just want to extract everything. And what they don't realize is the important thing we have is the planet and the connection to the planet. And when you're connected to the planet, you will always have everything you want and you need.
True.
Okay, cool. Yes. Yes, it's quite an old film, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if I was born. Oh, so it was Marilyn Monroe, yeah?
Yeah. Quite some time ago. So what goes around comes around. And so in a session with you, how would that run for somebody? Say I came to you, and what would we be doing together?
Well, if we physically meet, or as well as that we can do it by Zoom, we normally sit and we just chat. So there isn't really that much structure. People will, I say to people, talk to me about what you feel is the most important, things in your life, and, the most important events, even traumatic things. But we leave the traumatic things and the problems for the day of the session. And I could be sitting listening to people for as long as they need on the day before the hypnosis, because they'll think that they come to talk about ABC, but they'll end up talking about XYZ, things that they never, thought they would be talking about at all. And so I'm sitting listening to them because I need to get to know them as well as I can for the first maybe 2.5, 3 hours, which is different to all the other hypnotherapists, because they will only give people usually 45 minutes to an hour. And they usually say 45 minutes, that's enough. I don't think it is enough at all. And Dolores said that you need to spend as long as you need to spend with that person,
Okay.
When people go to a therapist, they say 59 minutes, 44 minutes, and then you're out. And they're leaving you crying and traumatized, whereas we don't do that. When people talk to me about their life, they could be talking for 3 or even 4 hours before the hypnosis. Then what they do is they lie down. You have to be lying in a bed, because we want the head and the neck and the shoulders and everything to completely, fully relax. They're lying down in the bed, and I will be talking to them about, can you imagine a beautiful butterfly floating in the air? Can you imagine, for example, and I use as you can see in the picture, I use my hands a lot. I'm using, because I'm moving energy. I'm doing Kate Bush, and I'm sort of moving the energy like this in the room all the time. And I say to them, can you imagine that? Can you see this? Can you see that? And then we will be talking about, can you see a beautiful place? And this is when you see them, we watch the client, and they start going into theta. which is that
Yeah.
altered state.
Okay.
And you can tell when they're in theta as well. We slow everything down. I slow the voice down. They
Okay.
slow everything down as well. So we're getting them into that beautiful relaxed state. And people don't really understand what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is only being relaxed and focused. So then this is when they start being shown images or symbols or downloads, whatever it is they need to see. They will be shown in a way that they can interpret and understand, because otherwise, what's the point? They know exactly how people work and what they need to see. So they will show people images, symbols. If I have somebody who is a mathematician, for example, they will keep showing mathematic symbols, images, stuff like that in a way. And the mathematician will keep saying to me, oh, they're showing me this. And I'm like, yes, I still have no clue what you're saying. But as long as it means something to that person, they know what you will understand. They know how to connect with you
They
as well.
speak your language in a way.
Yeah, they're using your brain, they're using your mind, they're using your words, they're using the images you can understand. For example, there was quite a few sessions where people used non-human words, non-human language, where they're doing things where they're only using your words and your language. That's what we're taught. But then they'll put something funny in where they'll say something like, my cells are fizzing. And I'll say, sorry, what? My cells are, they're fizzing. They feel like they're fizzing. And I'm like, where did you get that from? And they'll wake up and they'll say, don't even remember saying, but that's not how I talk. And then I'll have another session next week and the week after, and they'll say the same thing. Yeah, I feel like they're fizzing. And it's like, I've never heard that before in that way. So all of a sudden they'll put a word in that people don't use and they don't even know what it means.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So they've lay on the bed, they've had a good chat, you're taking them into hypnosis, and then they may say all things that they remember or don't remember, or use language that's not familiar to themselves.
Yeah.
And then when you're coming out, what's the releasing process?
What happens when they see the lives, the dimension, the planet, like you said, the story, we ask them to bring, because it needs some structure. We want to know specifically. They come for answers. So they bring 10 questions. 5 is about their life and 5 is about their physical body. So I put those questions to their higher self. Dolores used to call the subconscious or the superconscious or God or source, whoever we're with. It could even be an ET. I will take anybody that, we say, do you know, do we have permission to ask you? Could you help us? They will always say yes, or they'll say, we'll find somebody else. So they will talk through the client and they will give the client the answers. A lot of the answers the client will say, I kind of thought that was the case anyway, but some of the answers will blow people away. The answers are always loving, forgiving, very clear. They're giving people direction. They're showing you should do this or do that, but it's up to you. This will be good for you. They can help you with money, with finances, with abundance, which some spiritual people say, no, it shouldn't be about money, but why not? You can ask anything you want. And then we normally ask for healing of the body. So that's when they'll go, or sometimes we have the structure in the session and it won't work like that at all. If somebody's very, very, very seriously ill, they won't go to a past life at all. That's not going to be helpful. They'll go straight into healing. So they'll say, oh, I'm surrounded by 10 different beings and they have their hands on me. And I'll say, what are they doing? They'll say, they're healing my body. So that's why I said, I can't lead like this. I can't sort of tell you what the structure is going to be. But if they're going to die and they have 2 weeks to live, we don't have time to waste. They're not going to waste time on information. They will do the information sporadically in bits and pieces, but they're going to heal that person's body because we know they're going to die. Right. So they don't waste time at all. They know exactly what to do. My job is to get the person's ego, their, the critical mind, the ego, the left brain, and to keep pushing it aside to allow these beings to do the work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
You can email me on quantumhypno.co.uk. I advise filling the inquiry form out because it makes you think and also gives me a lot of information as well about what you want and what you need.
So
and you've got to be ready, really. Yeah, sorry.
Go, you carry on.
So this was an advert that we made in Hong Kong. So we made a lot of adverts because I knew that just seeing a picture of me as the therapist or just hearing sort of words, you know, it wouldn't capture people's imagination. So we flew to Hong Kong and made this ad to give people an idea of what's going to happen as well. A lot of the things I do, I like to make them visual. I like to do adverts. I like a little bit of moving, a little bit of voice, a few words here and there to pull people in and show them, get their interest. So it won't be for everybody. Some people will still say, yeah, I want to go to the doctor. I want pharmaceutical, I want pills. That is not the way of the future. We will not be doing it like this at all. If you want a job in the future, it's going to be an alternative therapy. And this is part of the advert we made in Hong Kong. That was good fun making, actually. Yeah. It was very good fun. Yeah.
It was very busy.
There was all these Chinese people. They were all wearing masks and they were sort of saying, you wear masks? And I was like, no, wear a mask, you know. And I was, as you can see, I'm the only one. I'm all dressed in white. There's nobody in white. They're all doing the masks. They're all running. And we slowed everything right down. This person that's with me in the ad is called Simon Elmer, and he's an author. He's absolutely brilliant. And he kept saying to me, what annoys him is people are always on their mobile phones. So he said, put something in the ad about, you know, mobile phones. I'm a huge fan of the Terminator. So we had a line in the end of the advert that says, book with me if you want to live. Sense of humor because funny. You got to laugh. Yeah. You got to have a sense of humor. You got to laugh because laughter is the best medicine. The highest possible frequency, people think it's joy, love, gratitude. They are high, but the highest possible frequency is authenticity, is being your authentic self. And that's what people will find in the session if they work with me.
Okay. All right, let you have your little drink. Jeff, you got something to come in here with?
For an Aussie,
yeah,
if they want to reach out and touch base with you, is that through?
We use Zoom.
Zoom, right? Okay, Zoom. Okay.
Yeah. So I've worked with many different beautiful Australian people, many different New Zealanders. They're all huge fans of Jacinda Ardern and Dan Andrews. Not. They had a really hard time. Yeah, they had a really hard time. I think we were talking earlier about the lockdowns in Victoria and Dan Andrews and everything. So I worked with a lot of those people and they said it was horrendous. You know, I worked with people in China during lockdown as well. And they managed to do sessions with me as well. They were crying. It was tough on people.
So, okay, so they reach out through your form here.
Yeah, because I can start with, when I work with Australia, New Zealand, I normally start at 6 a.m. UK time. So whatever it is, whatever country people are in, obviously Australia are ahead of us and America is behind us. So I work with America, I work with Australia. I only deal with one client today. At the moment, it's busy and I'm working on more books. So it's limited spaces at the moment. So sometimes I might only be dealing with 1 or 2 clients a week because of the other work I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of work with events. I'm holding events now with a gentleman called Dr. Sam Osmanagic. And like you said about the Bosnian tunnels, he actually is the owner of the park in Bosnia, the Pyramid of the Sun. And I'm working closely. Yeah, he's amazing. I'm working closely with Dr. Sam Osmanagic. And we're going to be touring the UK in March together. So we're busy with the events. We're busy with the talks. We're bringing Quantum Hypno and Dr. Sam Osmanagic to the world. He's amazing. He's such a great speaker, and we're going to record all the events for people that can't make it in the UK. So that's going to be amazing. So it's busy, and I'm only taking on limited spaces now.
Okay, amazing.
Your breath. I had him on the show because I went over there for the big conference here with all the different scientists, and we spent a bit of time there. And went to the other pyramids as well. But anyway, bottom line is he came out to Australia and caught up again in Brisbane here. So he could talk. There's no stopping him.
When I was directing Sam on the first show I did with him in May 2023, I was sitting in the front row, and it was an amazing talk. It was, even me, my jaw was dropping what he had to say. Now, I've been backstage with David Icke many, many times at his shows, and I've learned a lot. I watch people, I study, and I learn. And I'll take what works with David Icke talks, and I'll use it with Sam. So that's why Sam trusts me as well. And one day, 2023, he basically said to me, he rung me up and he said, organize an event for me. And I said, sure. When is it? Like 6 months? When is it? He goes, 12 days. And I said, 12 days? You want me to organize an event? How will I do that? And he goes, I don't know. You're David Icke's sponsor. You'll figure something out. So I thought, why did I say that? Why did I tell him that? So that's what Sam is like. He's like, you just said you can do it. I have faith in you. So he gave me 12 days to organize his tour last year. This time he's given me a couple of months. So it's like he's given me a bit of a heads up. But I was saying to Sam towards the end of the show, you've got 5 minutes left. And he looked down at me and I thought, I know I'm in trouble, because he just looked and he went, no. And I thought, oh, no. So talk about trying to manage somebody like Dr. Sam Osmanagic. It's not easy, because he's not going to listen to you. And basically then I said to him, you need to get off the stage, sign the books. And I was going, sign the books. And he went, okay then. So I thought, how am I going to get off the stage? But I remember saying to him, come off the stage. And he looked at me and shook his head and said, no.
You're the only person I know who can actually pronounce his last name.
Osmanagic, yeah. So people think it's difficult, do they? Yeah.
I mean, everybody just calls him Dr. Sam, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
I had to introduce him live on stage, and I was in the background and I was going, don't mess it up. Because obviously you've got nerves, obviously you've got whatever. And I just said, I got the name right, and I thought, oh, thank goodness for that. And then I said, he is the real Indiana Jones. And Sam goes to get on stage, and we're playing the Indiana Jones theme. And Sam just looks at me, and I'm like, I'm in so much trouble after the show. So we're playing So Sam goes to talk. We've got it on video, and the whole audience erupts in laughter. And then he goes to talk again, but there's so much laughter going on. He just goes, and then he just waits, and then he starts talking. So I don't think he expected, working with someone like me, that I would inject a little bit of fun, a little bit of, bit of music in there.
And tell me, one of the places, is he coming to the Origins of Time here in along the Meridian line for GMT?
You mean Greenwich?
East Grinstead, West Sussex. Is he coming?
So we're doing a show. Yeah, we're doing a show on the 7th of March in Chiswick, which is London. Then we're going to move to Dartford on the 9th of March. And then we're going to move on the 15th to the beautiful East Grinstead. And hopefully there's water there again. Otherwise, it's going to be problems.
We've been back on today. Yeah. Today's the first day we're back here with water. Yes.
So it's a small world, Jeff, that you know him and I also know him, isn't it?
I met him some years ago, and he came to Australia, and then a friend of mine happened to she went there with a group of people to Visovsky. Yeah, I can't remember. And she told me about the 6-star hotel where to stay, and boom, I'm out of here.
And this was in Visoko.
Visoko, that's it. The
Yeah.
only thing is, I got bloody what do you call it? Dysentery from being at the park, because the toilets there are not the most salubrious.
Yeah, I think they've improved it a lot now, because I normally end up going in order for me to see Sam and get together and to organize what we need to do and just to be around him in general. He's an amazing person. And he normally, I'm sitting having a coffee and I normally hear his car and he's like, Sarah, get into the car. And I know we're going somewhere and we're doing something, you know, so he wherever I am in Visoko, he seems to find me. But yeah, the park has really improved now. It's a lot better.
Okay.
It's
We're
an
zooming
amazing
in on that
place.
now.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's done with that park.
True.
But he does need support, because it isn't a one-man job. He needs a lot of support. Support, it isn't always giving money and stuff. Support is always coming over to Visoko, and it's about telling people what you've experienced. There's tunnels in Visoko. They're ancient prehistoric tunnels, and they're full of negative ions, which clean the cells of the body. That's the pyramid of the sun. Now that's why I said it's wild. It's underneath all this trees and earth and everything. So what it looks like underneath is amazing, because they have leader photography as well. They can see inside as well. And the tunnels, they all lead to all the pyramids. So there's quite a few kilometers of tunnels. But the tunnels the air is pure. There's negative ions in the air. They're cleaning the body and the cells. And some people say they go when they're sick. They've got cancer or diseases, whatever. That's the tunnels there. And a few weeks later, they came out and they have a clean bill of health. So it's really, really amazing. And the energy and the force that I feel in the tunnels is the same one I feel coming through in the sessions, which is yeah, I feel it's the same force. Yeah, because I can feel the similarity. Yeah. So you can go in, you can do meditations. Yeah.
I was in there with a pair of t-shirt and the shorts and a pair of runners and that.
Yeah.
It's not cold, is it? It's just really nice. And
it stays at around 12 to 15 degrees all the time. So when it's freezing outside, you'll feel like it's warm in there. When it's boiling, I think one year it got up to like 38, 39 degrees. We were dripping in sweat walking around. And when you go inside, it's cooling.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but a lot of people, they'll bring a little blanket with them, or they'll bring a cushion or something. The interesting thing about this place is Novak Djokovic is a huge fan. He's also best friends with Sam.
Got the courts there, right?
Yeah. Basically, Novak Djokovic said he would not have won the Grand Slam had he not been 6 times to the tunnels. So he sits and he meditates and he breathes. It's about breathing in, slow breathing in this air, and it cleans and purifies the body.
Wow. And can anyone go there at any time, or it has to be orchestrated?
No. Anybody can go in. You pay about, in English pounds, I think it's about £2.50 for an hour. You go in. They don't come and get you. You can stay a little bit longer if you need to. And they normally recommend you going in twice, let's say once in the morning, once late afternoon. And they have, which is interesting, they have a way of measuring your energy before you go in. There's a little booth. Yeah. They measure your energy. They measure your stress, like everything with this machine. And then they measure you a week or 2 weeks later. And the difference is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entrance to the
That's the entrance. Yeah, that's the little souvenir shop, and that's the little entrance. And just opposite the entrance is the little ticket booth. You buy your tickets there. And they're like family to me now. I know all the staff. I know everybody there. They're just so lovely. Park is beautiful. They actually do free activities for orphan children as well. They take thousands of children, and you can see the children. They say, what do trees feel like? You can see the children actually interacting with the trees and touching the trees and the nature and everything. So it's very educational for the kids.
When was the last time you were there?
I went to Bosnia in, I'd say, oh my gosh, I was traveling extensively last year, so I think it was maybe July, because I'd gone to Egypt twice. I took my children to Cairo. We were inside the pyramids. We took them to Bosnia. We took them to Japan. Took them to the Maldives, Turkey. We went to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which I would recommend people go and see. And yeah, many other places. So I traveled every other month in between work. And when I go away, I always say I'll switch off, but I never switch off work, because there's always emails coming in. There's always serious cases coming in, and people need help. So yeah, I almost never switch off, which is annoying. The toilets is funny because it says male, female, and ET. So they have a sense of humor. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
very good. And of course, it's a pyramid line unlike any other of the pyramids, because I think of the pyramids in Egypt, for instance, they're quite distinct.
Yeah, well, these pyramids are the oldest and largest in the world, and Sam thinks they go back around 20,000 years. No, actually, I think it's more. I think it could be around 30,000. But have you had Dr. Sam on the show, Jeff?
Yeah, I've had him on.
Yeah. So yeah, and Sam has a new book out as well. So that's gonna be blowing people's minds as well. With he's so open-minded, you know.
I'll tell you what, if you get the opportunity, he put out. Must be 15 years ago, PDFs, and you go on and I just made this. You go on and seen 6 clairvoyants around the world, and asked them to diagnose these pyramids, and that's a journey in itself. About the was it 7? Is 7 pyramids in that?
Yes,
I think it's 7, isn't it?
Yeah,
and how they're all interconnected and how they've all been backfilled up and all that stuff. So and then there was this reincarnation where he was involved right back in all those thousands of years ago in that interplanetary war. If you can find that PDF, it's a really interesting story there.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I have some sort of past life connection, both with people I work closely with, David Icke and Dr. Sam Osmanagic. 100%. Yeah. It was almost like I recognized him. He had a flock of people around him in Bosnia. And I remember thinking, yeah, I don't do the fan thing at all. That's not going to be. And he looked down at me and I thought, oops, hope he didn't hear that. And he looked down at me and smiled, such a beautiful smile. And I remember thinking, wow, it's like I knew that smile. I knew him. And obviously look at us now. We're all working together. Me, David Icke, Sam Osmanagic, and quite a few other people. There'll be a lot more collaborations to come this year. Also, I think Michael Tellinger, I've asked Michael Tellinger if he will come to the events as well. He's given me a big thumbs up. But I don't know where he will be in the world at the moment. But I'm trying to get Michael Tellinger to fly in.
Yeah, he's going to be there the June solstice.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to get him to come in March. I keep saying to I keep saying to Sam, give me an introduction to Novak. He'll love the sessions. So Sam keeps saying, I will, I'll let you know. But I only know 24 hours before he flies in, because probably even Novak doesn't know where he's going to be, you know? Yeah.
He's done remarkable. And he's a non-meat eater. He's a vegan.
Novak is a
Novak.
vegan.
Yeah.
He's changed everything, because people used to think, oh, you need meat, you will be weak. Look at his training regime. I'm a former swimmer as well. My sister is an Olympic gold medalist at swimming. She won 3 gold medals and a bronze in Atlanta. I've come from an athletic background. So I do work with, I have worked with Olympic athletes too, on their mindset. I have spent time with Olympic athletes. I've been in the Olympic Village in '96 in Atlanta. And so working with people like Novak, he would be very, very interested in what I do, because they're interested in the mind and the body. They see the connection, and he knows exactly how important energy is. He knows, he's on the ball. People like him, they're not from here. They're extraordinary people, and they're showing people that, yeah, you can be one of the fittest, strongest, intelligent men in the world and still be vegan. And he's also, when you go to Visoko in Bosnia, they used to all laugh. They used to go, everything is meat, everyone always have to eat meat. And now you've got many vegan options on the menu over there, vegan and vegetarian, you know. And a lot of people, I've been vegan 30 years, number one, because of health reasons, but number two, because I have compassion for all animals. I don't want an animal to suffer and die for me and consume something just because it tastes good, you know. And I do meet a lot of spiritual people as well, and they don't have any interest at all in an animal suffering, or they just say, I don't care, it tastes good. So each to their own.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Any more questions now from down under, Jeffrey, for our beautiful guest Sarah?
No, I suppose, how do you get paid?
How do I get paid? I work, that's a very good question, because I work in the private. I work privately. So people normally, they'll give me, let's say, a bank transfer or PayPal. And you know what? Cash is king. When I physically see people, they just give me cash. So yeah, I have my own way of working privately. So I'm glad you asked that. That's a really good question. Yeah. A lot of people, they will, you know, work opposite of me, and people, they don't think about the fact that they're also funding wars as well. So where is a lot of this money going to? It's funding wars. It could be funding terrorism, etc., etc. I think about all of that as well, quite conscientiously. So yeah, I work privately. Yeah.
You use Wise by any chance?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yes,
yeah.
I stopped using PayPal because they came out with an announcement about 3 years ago to Christmas time that said anybody who goes against the narrative or something will take $2,500 out of your PayPal account. I think it was close to, in Australia, I think it was close to 100,000 people left their PayPal accounts in 2 days, you know. So, and they lost $6 billion on their bloody market capitalization. So they had to go and retract that statement. But I think they've done
yeah. The people have the power. That reminds me of Disney, and brilliant thing was Budweiser, right? They had Dylan Mulvaney, and he was the the transgender, I'm drinking Budweiser, whatever. People stopped drinking it. They completely ruined, tarnished the image of Budweiser. And people stopped buying it, and they lost a lot of money. So this goes to show, Jeff, what you said, that example about PayPal. People won't put up with that. They will lose billions of pounds. So when everybody gets together collectively, like it was a football match or something, and we all get together and we go, we're not doing that, they will change. You force change. And they say one man can't make a difference. Of course you can. Of course you can.
Jeremy Clarkson's shown what's happening with the farmers in the UK, and that's no different to what's happening to farmers in New Zealand or Australia. I mean, he's just brought it to everybody's attention, but the bureaucrats are doing, and of course, Mr. Trump's doing the same, where he's removing so many bureaucratic layers and getting into those NGOs and what he's doing with United Nations, the 66 whatever organisations getting afflicted, not getting any money. I thought, fair play to you, mate.
Yeah. And it's all coming out. The information is all coming out now. You even see the band, the English band Jamiroquai, and they're on stage and they're saying a handful of people own the world and whatever, and people are cheering and clapping, and it's all coming out. It's all collapsing. You know, the narrative is collapsing. People are fed up. They've had enough.
Of course. Yeah,
and so we are so powerful. We have the final say always.
Yeah. Now, before we finished up last year, we had a lady in Northern New South Wales who came on the show. Her name was Fiona, and she gave herself the name Love. So her book was called Clandestine Wings, and the website's called clandestinewings.com. And she took 2 years out of life and went down every imaginable rabbit hole that anybody who's a critical thinker has expressed. And she's gone and put it together in a book called Clandestine Wings. And on the website there, it's got resources. And when you click it, it's got all the chapters listed all down. And then inside the chapters, bibliography of where all the source material is. And you can buy it on Amazon, or you can go online and you can do it through a donation.
Yeah.
And you can get the PDF. I read that book. Absolutely ticking boxes. It's a great resource library for anybody who's a critical thinker to say, where do I go to? Well, it's here. Boom.
Yeah.
See if I can pull it up.
Wow.
Just a moment, I'll get it. Buddy, there you go.
Oh, beautiful.
And there's resources.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Very clean. Nice.
Okay, so here's all the chapters.
Yeah.
And breaks it all down and tells you where all the source materials. When there's the Heckle and Jibe, Heckle, where those money guys all got together to set up the Federal Reserve. Amazing. It's just all there.
That's a lot of work that she's put into the book.
Yeah. The CIA, Agenda 21. I mean, we had Sandy Adams there talking about the agendas, you know.
Yes. Yeah, she's doing amazing work.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. So it's some of the conversation we'll have to have off here because it's needs to be set. Anyway, so Priti, thank you very much for introducing Sarah Jane Smith.
She's always a delight to talk to. We never know where it's going or how we're going to meander through it, but we have just been speaking for an hour and a half, and like you said, like your sessions, the time just flew by. A little snippet outside of time and space for me while I was having the conversations with you. It's always a delight to catch up with you, Jeffrey, and to connect the northern and the southern hemispheres. I think it's a wonderful thing to do.
Well, it's a jigsaw puzzle piece, and people think that they're the only one there, but what these shows are doing is actually showing that the world's a jigsaw puzzle, and we put them all together, and boom, it's you're not alone. That's what the story is all about.
You're never alone.
Correct. Okay. Well, I love you and leave you. Thank you very much. Stay with us while we.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Goodbye.